Okay, welcome everybody to the Ortelius Architecture for February 26th. Um, just to give you a quick update where I'm at. I'd made some, I've was been looking at the data on our live, like our test site, and I had to do some cleanup because what I recognized was there's a situation where you have a generic cluster name like cluster one or cluster two, and then you have stuff in the namespace, and that wasn't getting mapped to an org. So it just would those endpoints would just like disappear. So I did some work to clean that up and fix the beta, basically the cloud function that goes and checks for the Kubernetes audit logs to do the mapping correctly. So that's looking good. The data is looking good in there. Um, I am in the process of deploying to AWS. Um, so that I'm creating some Terraform to create the load balancer because again, Google will automatically create the load balancer and all this managed certificates for you. AWS has to be difficult, and you have to create it as a separate step and figure out all the ARNs and all this information to pass to Kubernetes to connect the two together. So it's a little more complicated on that front. Um, and then I will also make sure that the basically the cloud function should work with AWS as well. Um, that I have to try. I've never tried making a single Python, or actually a single, it should work because it's a Golang program. So running in Docker. So it should work between a Lambda and a Google Cloud function, but we'll see. Maybe some small tweaks on that. Um, if not, I'll just create a second one because on AWS, we will be looking at the CloudWatch log audit trail, where on Google we have the thing of Stackdriver still. Um, so that should get us up and going on that front. One other technical thing I did figure out is how to um, deal with a 20 megabyte SBOM that needs to be put onto Kafka, how to chunk that up, and need to create a little routine to do that for people to consume. So that's all coming together. We should be pretty close uh, to switching things over, um, at least for being able to switch people over to start using the one that we have out there, the app.deployhub.com, um, for people to start signing up for and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at. Trying to think what else. The only other thing I have is that we always come back to this is just the brainstorming on how we can figure out an easy way to recognize that a deployment's been done. You know, the route I took for now was looking at the Kubernetes audit logs, which will work for if they're using Flux or Argo, or if they're using Helm, just Helm commands or kubectl commands. It's like a catch-all for all of that. Um, but it does involve that a Terraform be run and that cloud function installed. So it's an extra step. Anybody have any ideas on how to, if there's another way we should be looking at, like looking at maybe the audit log, I mean the logs out of coming out of the GitHub Actions, if people still do deployments using a GitHub action using Helm. That's kind of like the way we used to do it before, was we'd have a GitHub action, do run the pipeline that did the deployment through Helm. But people have moved over to the GitOps. Just
That's what
wondering
I was going to say.
what's
What
out
isn't there
there.
something we can do with the GitOps operator? Is there a log from that?
Nope, they don't create any logs.
So can we make an assumption that when a new Helm chart's been checked in, that it's going to kick off the operator, and that's going to be the source of truth?
Uh, go that route and make that assumption as a an easy fallback.
I think we have to. I mean, that's the whole point of GitOps, right? The operator sits there and watches for updates in the repo, and as soon as you check in a new Helm chart, it goes and it executes.
Uh, yeah, it's a little funky. It's not immediate. It there's a timer, so you might
Yeah. Well, either way,
yeah.
it runs, right? Funky or not, that's how most people, I mean, I think most tools like Spinnaker, and even I think Octopus Deploy is one of the last ones out there that are really trying to make a commercial deployment tool. I think most people have gone to GitOps.
Yeah. Utkarsh, what do you guys use?
We are using GitHub Action. As GitHub Action Helm chart, the same workflow that you said earlier.
Okay, so that still is a way to go.
Yep.
Okay. And um how does the Helm chart get updated then as part of the pipeline? Bump the version and all that stuff.
Mm, One second. Oh, looking at the Helm chart now. GitHub Action.
Because somewhere you're going to have to pass in like the new version of the chart to use as part of the deployment. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
where that happens.
I don't have
Yeah.
any solutions, but you do need it for governance, right?
We needed to know where something has been deployed to.
And we're
I mean,
trying
but
to identify the vulnerabilities that are running in production.
Yeah,
So in order to do that, we have to be able to create the digital twin of the deployment configuration, including what the endpoints are.
yeah,
Literally, like every cluster that's running it.
okay, still thinking, sorry.
yeah. So I did do and this is uh, based on some of the work that Jin put together earlier, where um, I have it so we can look at a repo. I'll look at the GitHub action logs for the last run and determine and basically derive like if a Docker build happened and what was published. So I can go ahead and extend that to go ahead and look for a Helm deploy.
I think that's the best way to go for now, really. There may be better ways in the future, but I feel like we should do something that is around GitOps because if we're looking to make it easy for people, that is one way to do it.
Yeah, because what happens is you when you deploy Ortelius, there's a job that runs that's on a schedule. I think it runs every 15 minutes that looks at a big file that says, "Oh, I want to go look for new releases coming out of these repos." Um, and that is where we'll be able to then I can add on to that to go ahead and pull the Helm deployment information.
So, like, whosoever is going to use Ortelius, they'll be aware of that, right? So, I was thinking why we are, trying to think of a solution which is more like a, backdoor entry. Um, should we not, just try to, ask them for access and try to directly, get into whatever, resources or things we need?
Yeah, yeah, that would be the other option would be to get read access um to the cluster. That would be the other route to go. Because if we had read access to the cluster, we can then go ahead
Mhm.
and look at the cluster uh
Yeah, and
and
I think regarding if they have any concern regarding, data leaving their subsystem, so we, we we can work around that, right?
yeah, if they're concerned about that, you could install Ortelius on-prem and keep everything
Yeah.
basically on-prem and be able to uh, work work directly with the clusters from Ortelius.
Yeah, even it can be like a sort of sub process which communicates to Ortelius pod, which is, sitting somewhere other place.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. And that's kind of where the Kafka message bus
Yeah,
comes into play,
correct.
where it's kind of like an in between. So there's going to be there needs to be a producer in of the message, and that producer can have the access to the cluster to go interrogate the cluster, get what it needs, and then create the message and send it off to the consumer, which is basically the deploy observer that goes and creates the digital twin side of things. So um, that may be a route. I'll have to look into see what access we need to a cluster. I'll have to play with that.
We're looking for like
And the other,
oh, sorry, you go.
yeah, okay. Go, Sash.
Uh, thanks. So do you need what are you looking for, like a role-based access service account, something like that, that the
Yeah,
person would need to set up
yeah,
to be able to read the endpoints, the API endpoints within Kubernetes that would help you understand what
right,
for what Ortelius needs, right?
right. You basically have to read the pods that are running.
And
Basically,
could,
you have to do a kubectl pod describe.
yeah.
That's what you basically need is a pod describe because that gives you the image details. So first you have to do the pod list,
Yeah.
get
All the
pods,
pods, what are the
get
names and stuff like that? Yeah.
get the names, and then you can do a pod describe. Those are the two things that you have to do to get to the details of what's running.
And that's how Ortelius would then gather all the information to around how those services are built that are running.
That gives you the image name.
Yeah.
So in the when you do the pod describe, you can get the Docker image name and the tag, and then that will allow us to say that this cluster is running this version of this Docker image.
And so Ortelius would go out and do that when you deploy it into your cluster, right?
Right. And that's the
Does it
other route,
au-
I guess. I guess the
does
other
it
route would
automatically
be
scan? Like build a bunch of MCP servers or one MCP server that could identify whatever you're running.
um
Right. Or I don't know, I'm thinking a bit like alien movie style, like a
uh,
central mothership that
yeah,
sends out.
well it's not that complicated. All we need to
Hmm.
know is this image and tag is running on this cluster and in this
Oh
namespace.
yeah,
And that's it. That's
fair
all we
enough.
need.
That's it. Because then you
Because
just scan the image, right?
we
Because
already
you
if we're hooked into their code repo,
oh yeah,
we
yeah,
can already get and they're doing a Docker build and a
yeah.
push. We can get the SBOM from that side.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So there may be, if they're pushing to a private repo, like a private ECR repo or Artifactory or Sonatype,
Mm,
then we would need to have read access to that repo, but that's a lot easier to get than
that is,
uh, access to the production cluster.
yeah, makes sense.
So Utkarsh, did you figure out how the
Yeah, yeah.
chart versions were updated?
Yeah, I've shared you the command. They're using this command. And basically we, build our image and then like Helm chart and all those things as part of our repository. Let me quickly share for a few minutes maybe. Advanced. Or it's not allowing me to share.
It's weird. I don't. Oh, there. No.
Okay, I need system permission. Okay, dear. Okay. Um, 1 second, I'll join back. I just
Okay.
need to give this permission.
So I think where we are today, I think we have an easy solution because we can hook into the GitHub repos, bring in their SBOM and their releases, and then if they deploy the Terraform, that they could go ahead and automatically feed that information, and then we'll just keep after, and that would be like our first release, and then we'll just keep on adding more of these connectors to get more details from folks in different ways. Same details, different collection methods. What do you got, Utkarsh?
Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody see my screen?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make
Yeah.
mine.
So it's just a simple pipeline. We just to check out the repository, and all these artifacts are part of the repository. So we build our image. We have like a Helm chart as well. All those things in the repository, part of repository. So we just build our repository. And I think here we are configuring AWS using OIDC.
Yeah,
Later, since this is authenticated, we can directly go ahead and invoke this on the cluster itself.
got it.
Yep.
And is that
Mhm.
deploying a single Helm chart or is it deploying like a parent-child Helm chart?
Now it's replying single Helm chart. The
Okay.
microservice, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's simplify things if we just work on in that world.
Yeah, and we recently moved to like we previously we were using ECR, but
Uh-huh.
we wanted to keep a lot of things like to the close to the Git. So right now we are using this GitHub container history, just isolating few pieces. I think they're going to have they're trying to refactor how we are deploying, like figuring out more reliable ways of deploying these microservices.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard GitLab has a a a registry now as well. Um, so people are moving away from using Artifactory and Sonatype and just using the native GitLab container registry as well. So
Mhm.
I'll have to check. Is that a new feature for GitHub?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't aware like they offer the container history, but yeah, they do. Usually, like who's like if the people has the enterprise version for any of these cloud providers, so they try to use leverage those container histories.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out I just looked up
Is that to avoid vendor lock-in? So like your images are like bound to your repo tool more than being bound to the hyperscaler.
it keeps it all. more isolated would be the best way.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Hmm.
It's
How much is it?
25 cents per gigabyte.
Yeah.
I have 8 GB images, so that'll add up really quick.
Oh wait, I know who owns GitHub, Microsoft. Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Oh, it says, let's see. Let's see. Data transfer between GitHub Actions and Git GCR is free and unlimited. Interesting. And it just came out. This
Oh,
said this was released like last month.
What are you looking at, Steve? You want to put it in?
Oh, it's the GitHub container registry. Let me.
I have another call in a minute or so, so I'll jump off from now.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks for
one
the
last
info.
thing before you do. Everyone, both Sasha and Arvin are looking for work. If you could make sure and give them a recommendation on LinkedIn, if you haven't already, that will help.
yeah, thanks. I'm making good progress with a British company at the moment.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, fintech, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
That's
But it,
great.
but it, but it's hard out there. It's
It
hard.
is. So please, yeah, take a look at if you haven't given them a recommendation. Just beef up their recommendations. I think everybody should have at least 10.
Yeah, you and Steve gave me some good ones. Thanks. And I think
Absolutely.
Tony too. I still owe Steve one, and I'll do anyone else too if they want.
No worries. Alrighty. Anybody else have anything else that we need to chat about? That helps. It gives me some ideas I got to think about. But first I got to get this release out and wrapped up, and then dive back in and expand upon what we got going already.
Yeah, cool.
Alrighty, if nobody has anything else, thank you everybody, and we'll chat soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye.